Welcome back. Welcome back. You are in the gap on WYTV7 Christian Broadcast. We're glad to have you back. This is like our fifth or sixth episode together.
I think it's our
fifth episode together. We have been talking about relationship issues, not only just relationship, how we got together, but the reuniting of our lives together through Christ, because this is Christian-based content, and that is the center of everything.
We are your hosts, Keith Smith and Dorothy Smith.
Yes, I forgot to say that. And that is a good point, because last week we touched on what we're deficient in one end, the other one is strongest. Just like tonight, I forgot to introduce ourselves. But when you're connected and you work as one, whatever you fail at, the other can pick it up. So now we're right back on track. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
But that's the way it unfolds in real life. So that is information plus application now. So now you see it. But we want to welcome you in from the viewing broadcast audience and the listening podcast audience. And we want to thank you guys for all the support and the feedback we've been getting. Please continue to do that so we can put content together that from our lives that will really help you in your life. So I'm going to start tonight with an excerpt from the Bible. And we're going to talk about that and how it relates to relationship as well. Not only between us or between you and your mate or your relationship, your marriage, but also with Christ. In Mark chapter 10, and Mark's one of my favorite books of the Bible because Mark talks about everything happening with speed. He uses immediately a lot. But when you go to Mark chapter 10, verse 46 through 52, and I encourage you to go later on and just look at this and see what God reveals to you underneath it as well. But it says that Jesus and his disciples came to Jericho, which was one of the biggest parts of the region. So there's a lot of people there. And they said when they got to Jericho that a lot of people were around, but there was one person they started to focus on. And it's blind Bartimaeus. And some people say blind Bartimaeus, some say blind Bartimaeus, but it says that he is the son of Timaeus. Now, in the Bible, I know it says it a lot, the son of, and it tells your dad, or you might have been known to say this is Alice's son or daughter, but it's very significant. I used to think, why did they put who your father was in the Bible? Well, what I've learned through years of relationship with Christ is very important who you are connected to. Very important. So it said that he's the son of Timaeus, and he was sitting there begging at the gate. Now, I'm sure he could do a lot of other things really well, but he was known as a beggar. And when Jesus came, he began to cry out. He said, Jesus, son of David, have mercy on me. And as soon as he did, the crowd that was around tried to quiet him. But it said the more they tried to quiet him, the more he cried out even louder, until Jesus stopped and seen him and told him to arise. And when he did, it said that he shed his garment. Now that's in verse 50. And we're going to stop there. We don't have to go to verse 52. Because here's the things that really jumped out to me when we start talking about relationship, and I'm sure my wife is going to be able to give some revelation on this as well. It is important who you are connected to. And even when you're trying to make a change or go in a new direction in life, whether it be career, relationship, whatever, there's always going to be people trying to quiet that dream within you or quiet that healing. You got to know how to respond in that situation. But lastly, and this is the most important part to me, when he shed his garment, before he arose, Jesus said, arise. This man had never stood up. And when he arose, he never could see. But when he was healed, when he arose to be healed, it said that he shed his garment, meaning he left parts of the old self behind because he's about to go into a new era, a new realm. Now, we're going to talk about first and foremost our relationship with Christ. because it was important who I was connected to. I had a mom that carried me to church. I was connected to Sunday school teachers that made sure we knew the Bible. And when I needed Christ in the worst time of my life, I knew how to reach out to him because of the people I was connected to. So it is very important who you are connected to. Do you have anything on being connected with anyone?
You're saying that you grew up in the home.
In the home.
Well, in the home with your parents where,
Mhm.
Your mom took you to church and, it was like your usual or your routine every Sunday.
Yes.
I too grew up in the church. I remember going to a Methodist church, a First Assembly of God actually, and we grew up in the church as well. My mom always made sure that we went to church, even sometimes when she didn't go. The church bus would always pick us up. And you're saying, you knew how to reach out to God in a certain time of your life.
Mhm.
Well, as in my singleness and in a lot of my brokenness, that's all I had to rely on was to actually fall back on my relationship with Christ, knowing who or where to go,
Mhm.
being connected to Christ. Of course, when my mom was alive, I was able to, call her and she would give me counsel. And it was always it wasn't anything extravagant or elaborate or anything of that nature. It was always short and sweet, precise, those godly wisdom and things that I still live by to this day. So being connected to having a relationship with my mom, along with, having that intimate relationship with God.
But see, it goes hand in hand, and it went for both of us. It was who we were connected to in the earthly realm that taught us how to be connected to Christ in the spiritual realm. And usually that's how it is. It's who you are connected to is very important because I've known people that had to find Christ on their own. They didn't have that.
Mm-hmm.
So it is important who you're connected to. And I want to get back to that at the end. But it says too that when he was trying to create change in his life, when he was trying to go a different route in life because he wanted to receive his sight, and he cried out for healing. He cried out for change. But the people around him told him to be quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever you're going to try to make a change in your life, whenever you're going to try to go in a different route, you're always going to have critics. You're always going to have people to say, be quiet. Or you're going to have people say, you'll never change. I faced that.
Wow.
I had people when I first came out, I told my wife today, I had people in my life that wanted to help me when I came home to continue doing the wrong thing that got me in that situation to start with, but very few people that wanted to help me do the right thing, namely my wife. She was the major contributor of saying, hey, I want to see you do good. I want to see, and this was before we ever got married, before we was in a relationship. We were more in a friendship, but she genuinely wanted to see me do good for myself. So, yeah, go ahead.
Because I saw your value. I heard your value because, the word of God says, try the spirit by the spirit. That way you know that it's me. And so instinctively, after conversing with you on the phone, I immediately knew there was spiritual wealth. There was much wealth there. I knew that.
So this is what I want you to picture, not only in our lives or your life or whatever you've been through. This man wanted change. He cried out for it. The same way I cried out for change and changed my life through Jesus Christ and continue to do it until this day.
Yes.
And when he did, there was a lot of people telling him to be quiet. But those voices did not matter to him. It was only one voice that mattered. It's not the many, it's the one. It's that one voice that'll say, arise and change, arise and get your healing. Hey, I'm here to support you. I've seen you at your worst. I'm here to help you get to your best. And it may be something God put in a person like my wife. She said she seen the value in me because God put it there. So it's not the many voices, and don't focus on what people are trying to discourage you from doing. Focus on the one voice that can help motivate you to get to where you need to.
That can compel you towards greatness. One of the
Absolutely.
things I like that you also said is that, oh my goodness, you actually said, I just drew a blank there.
That's okay. I'm sure it'll come back. I'm sure it'll come back.
You actually was saying about, you said you knew where to reach, you knew where to connect, and you were crying out for help and the change.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing I like that you said is that even now.
Mm-hmm.
So when we're asking for change, it's not, I don't want everyone to think that it's gonna, everything's gonna be perfect right away. It overnight. So, yeah. It's a gradual thing, and we're always a work in progress. We're all continuously, a work in progress. So I like, when you said that,
Absolutely.
and today, so it's ongoing. Even for myself, every day, I'm working towards that greatness and working towards that change, because we never come to a point to where we've arrived.
Absolutely. And that's a great point. And when you were speaking, God had put in my spirit 2 words: continual change. Because no matter how much you grow in a relationship or in Christ or in a career, there's always continual change that's going to come within you, internally and externally around you. It's how you adapt to this change, and it's how you accept this change. But go ahead.
And this adaptability is also key in change. Adaptability, because change doesn't always feel good.
No.
It will take you out of your comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
It does not always feel good. You're going to have to squirm through it. You may have to, cry through it, but, change doesn't always feel good, but it's necessary.
And change may come with pain.
Absolutely.
So that's going to be another broadcast for another day, because I think that could be something really great. Change will come with pain. But moving on, I want to get to this last point, because I think this is a big topic. It's when he shed his garment was significant of him putting off his old self so he could step into his new. He didn't even want to carry his garment with him into where he was going. He wanted brand new. And he had to fight through all those no's and that voices of being quiet to get to it. So he said, you know what, if I'm going in this land that I want to get to, I'm not carrying anything. Well, when we come to Christ, we do the same thing individually. We have to put off everything that was bad about us to walk in change, continual change, until everything that's in the new. So when I think about the things I had to put off and the change I had to endure to follow Christ for the purpose that he had for me many, many years ago before I was even born, I also think about relationships, not only with Christ, but with whom that one person that God has separated for you that I was so lucky, blessed to find. And I want to say this: no matter where you're going in a new relationship, you're always going to have some old baggage that's going to come with you because of who you were connected to. Remember how we said it? It's Bartimaeus, son of Timaeus.
Yes.
Well, I was Keith, son of Jerry. And that was, and I could say that's my dad's name, but it was a lot, and him and my mom, they instilled a lot of great values in me. And it seems like all the baggage and all the bad habits that I had were learned experiences from my own choices and decisions. Well, I had to learn to lay them off to come to Christ. And when I came to Christ and built a relationship in him, and then I was prepared to go into this new life after incarceration, it's the change that I made of laying off the old that allowed her to see the Christ and the value in me when it was when it was in a new season. Mm-hmm. So it was putting off the old and learning to live in the new, not just change it to the new. You got to learn how to walk in it. And that's what she's seen. And that's the value part that I think she was talking about.
Actually, as you were stating, the new season that you were in, what do we oftentimes do when the seasons change? We change out our winter wardrobe for our summer wardrobe, our summer wardrobe for the winter or the fall. Mm-hmm. When we're going through change of seasons, in the natural, that's one of the things that we do. Mm-hmm. We change if you're like me, you change your home decor, for every season. So in change is inward, but it's also outward.
Outward, exactly. And one point I want to bring up too, because we talked about it a few broadcasts back early on when we started doing the relationship stuff on the broadcast together. She said that she recognized that I had spent a lot of time with Christ.
Yes.
But I can remember early in our immediate first conversation, she never told me, I am a Christian, I'm a believer of Christ, I spend X amount of time in the Word or in prayer. She didn't tell me any of that. When I asked her that one question, and the one question was from the Bible, and her answer was, you lead, I'll follow. I knew immediately by her answer, she was a believer and a woman of faith. I didn't have to ask. It was how she responded. You remember how they said Peter was sitting back as they was taking Jesus right before he was being crucified, and that it was that third time that he denied Christ that he said, they said, he's one of them, he's a Galilean. And he was like, no, not me. They said, yes, by the way that you speak. Mm. He was known by the way that he spoke. So when she spoke those words, I knew her spirit right then. I didn't have to ask. And when you meet that person who has made that continual change and continuing to make it and has created value in themselves with Christ by having a relationship with him, they will know you by your speech. You won't have to tell.
Absolutely.
You can be standing a certain way and the glory of God can be on you and people know who you are.
And from that very relationship and closeness, that God has instilled in place with you, also not only will it attract, it will also scatter some folks too. You know
Absolutely.
What I mean? It would also scatter some folks.
It's about how we were connected early on in our lives, how we connected to Christ and how we connected to others. And when we got together, I brought some things in to the relationship that she wasn't used to. And this is where continual change continues to happen because, she was connected to people that did things a certain way. I was connected to people who did things a certain way. So we had learned habits that we did that we thought are common practice. Well, what I found out was what I think is common, some things are uncommon for her.
Yeah.
So there's where continual change comes in. So let me go ahead and state this. I never was one to cook or wash clothes or do anything like that. And that's what I thought, growing up, that a man didn't do this type of stuff. He worked in the yards. He took care of other things. But now I'm learning. Because you have things in your past or you have learned habits, mm-hmm. when you move into a new realm or a new relationship or a new season, we have to have that continual change. Because now, I cook.
Yes.
I'll wash clothes. I'll clean house. We work as a team.
A partnership.
But I grew up in a different era where the man didn't do things like that. So I'm continuously changing. And it's not only on my behalf. There's a few things that she's had to change along the way, but we do it in the sake of growing together.
But there's also some things you've adapted to
Absolutely.
And have actually flourished in. And one of those things that I'm always so grateful is you will always fill up the car. You will take the car. You will always fill up the car. So that, to me, that's That was a change. That was a good change.
Yeah, yeah, and that was a change for me because when you first asked me, I'll be honest. I said, well, not the gas pump fit her hand when she goes by. But I understand there's certain things, there's a certain respect level that you have for your partner, that it's not about the great things you can give them, it's about the small things, yes. The things that you're showing you're willing to change about. Because here's the thing, when you have things in your past, like I had in mine, and you want people to forgive you for them, it's not over once they say, okay, I'm willing to look past this. You have to have continual change going on. I thought that was a great point that you brought up. Continual change. That is what it's going to take. That's what it takes to grow with Christ, because he can have you in one season today and ready to reap in a new field tomorrow.
Yes, yes.
And like I said, Mark, I love the book of Mark because he says immediately. And God moves with speed, and you got to be able to keep up with God, and I love that. But continual change will allow you to adaptability.
I love the fact that you keep emphasizing continual change because, again, change doesn't always feel good. And not only that, there's sometimes we won't get it right. We may digress. We may, find ourselves with some of the former habits, but that's not. My thing is, don't give up. Yes. Let's continue to, start anew, purpose in your heart to do whatever it is that you need to do, or the changes that you're trying to make. Don't give up. Keep pursuing that change in positivity. And, we all mess up. We're human. We're human.
And some of the things that I brought into the relationship was I had 3 adult daughters. And she had a son and a daughter who is still in our home now. They're not adults yet, but they're growing fast and they're getting there. But that is a difference in itself, because I had to adapt to another part of my life from my past, from having kids in the home again. So I want to say this. When I remember having conversation, I was in the kitchen. I was with one daughter on the phone, and another day I was with one and I was doing laundry, but I was in the kitchen cooking, and they were like, Dad, what are you doing? I said, I'm cooking. And it's like the phone went silent because they have never seen that. And they thought I was joking. She thought I was joking. No, I'm cooking. What are you cooking? I'm cooking an omelet. You don't know how to make an omelet. I used to didn't know, but I know now. Continual change. Plus YouTube and Google, you can find out how to make anything. So, but another daughter, I was washing clothes, and she was shocked. You never wash clothes. Well, I do now. And that was a change for us. That was a huge change for my kids to understand, hey, Dad does things now he used to didn't do. And that's what comes along with this continual change. How you were connected, how you were connected to Christ, how you were connected to each other, and continual change. If you're doing these things, it's very possible for you to continue to look and search and find that soulmate, that one that God has. When everybody's telling you, be quiet, don't get on that Christian dating site because there's nothing on it. Listen for that one voice who can tell you, you can do this.
Yes.
Anything in closing?
No, actually, you've hit everything you've covered everything.
I want to hit one last point, continual change. There's something else that's continually changing, and that's WYTV7, Christian Broadcast. They are continually changing and changing the ministry for the good, for the better. I'm always getting emails from our producer, and I'm seeing new broadcasters coming, new events coming up, new ideas are being discussed, and it's continual change. But continual change sometimes doesn't always come with pain. It may come with a price.
Absolutely.
And not so much a price, but a heartfelt donation. So if you go to WYTV7.org, you can go on there and read about all this great continual change they're doing for the ministry and improving the ministry and improving the way WYTV7 is doing things. You can also look at the change that the new broadcasters and the older broadcasters are bringing to the program. But also, too, while you're looking for all this, look for that donate button. Click on it. Give a little bit of change. Not a continual change, but maybe a little bit of change. Now, the one that jingles are accepted, but the one that folds is good too.
Yes.
And not only that, if you have not made that change in your life to say, Jesus, I want to lay off that old coat and put on that new, you can do that tonight. Or if you just want to get back in standing with Christ where you were in your life, it's simple. 1 John 1:9, say it every broadcast. If we confess our sins to Christ, he is quick and just to forgive us of our sins and cleanse us from all unrighteousness. And to do that, all you got to do is admit your sins, say, Jesus, come into my heart, take over, and allow me to make continual change with you, where I can be connected not only to the people from my past, but the people that you want for me in my future.
Absolutely.
It's that easy. Anything else?
Actually, if you want to book Keith for speaking engagement, please go to our website, inthegapmotivational.com. We also want to hear how our episodes are helping you,
Yes.
or if there's an issue or a topic you'd like to discuss, by all means, send us an email at itgmotivational@gmail.com.
And ITG, or In the Gap Motivational, we're doing continual change too.
Yes.
God has got some huge things on the horizon for us. And not only if you want to book me, maybe you have a relationship workshop that you would like to get Dorothy and I to come and do what we're doing on the broadcast now. Let us know. And our social media pages are there as well. Click on them to see some of our previous broadcasts, some extra videos that's on there. Start following us on Twitter and Instagram. We also have a Facebook page, and we have the YouTube page too. So subscribe and hit the notification bell. So when we put new things up, you'll be notified about it. But until next time, we're going to ask you to do one more thing. And it's not continual change. We're going to ask you to do something very simple, to just stand. Stand in the gap for those who can't stand for themselves. And we will be standing in the gap for you. Until next time, we'll see you.
Bye-bye.